And we're live. Hello, my dotlings. We're here tonight with
Melissa Alfred. Hi, guys. Nice to meet you. Good to see everybody here. I am a professional psychic. If you saw the ads for the video before they popped up, it does explain a little bit of my background. And I'm thrilled to be here with you tonight, Dottie. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
I'm excited. Yes, we are both in the West Virginia Psychics Club.
Association.
Huh?
West Virginia Psychics Association.
West Virginia Psychics Association. Sorry. So yeah, it's wvpsychics.com.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
if you want to get a reading from her, you can go there and you can get one from her or from me or from whatever other highly qualified West Virginia psychics.
Yes, we've got 7 now. 7, I think.
I do need to make a fancy intro for these live streams. Like, that would be cool. Like, everybody else has got, like, these, like, 10-second warnings that, like, come up, and I don't even know how that works.
You know, I'm going to tell you, I'm always on this side of the screen, and I'm never on that side of the screen where you are, so don't ask me to help.
I know Joe and Asen figured it out. I'll have to bug him. I'll have to bug them.
There you go. Get the guys on it. Say, I love you. Please help.
So, I know you have, like, don't you have, like, an incense and herbal thing going on?
I do, and I make teas, and I make herbs, and I do jewelry, and I do a lot of stuff. I guess what you would call a crafting nut passion. What would be the best term to do it? Because I'm like insanely passionate about one craft or another at any given time, and the only ones I've ever stuck with any length of time is herbalism and knitting. And I've never sold anything that I've knitted because I don't finish things.
You know the problem with knitting, you will never get back what you have put in time unless you're doing something this big.
Exactly. It's a labor of love. I mean, I kind of heavily debated today wearing one of my hand knitted scarves, but then I chose not to because it's really warm in here.
I tried at one point. I was like super serious about doing the handmade stuff, and I had handmade everything I was selling. This was like when I first started going to events. Well, not first started going to events, but when I first started coming back into events. I had all this handmade stuff. I had like dream catchers and God's eyes, and now and I had these like really big Lord, I can't even remember what it's called. I used a large gauge needle to knit these shawls.
Okay.
I used to call my vampire killers because they look like an old school movie steak.
Okay.
Like 25, 50.
Yeah. Like the wool roving type thing?
Yeah, I like the ones you do that. And I would do that with the not straight roving, but like the next width down. So it was actually spun, but it wasn't spun very tightly. And it was very
so like the super, super soft, really thick stuff, like almost as thick as your wrist.
Yeah, I may have something still around. I think I've got like one
sure
scarf I saved, but like it takes an insane amount of time to make anything.
Absolutely. And that's why it's you know, it's a lot like learning how to do anything else. It's always a labor of love because it's more time than skill.
That's true.
The skill itself, I mean, I've taught every one of my kids and my stepchildren how to at least do basic crochet and basic knitting. Only 2 of them have ever went beyond like chain stitching stuff. But you know, it's something that they learn how to use. It's like, hey, look, now you have an excuse to carry sharp, pointy sticks around in case of the, you know, the vampire apocalypse, so that we're safe.
Yeah, one of my favorite. Okay, let's get back on track because I will sit here and talk knitting, and that's not what this channel is about. This channel is about, well, the live streams are about promoting your services.
Right.
And I want to know more about the teas and stuff. Like how long have you been doing herbalism? Like how long have you been into herbalism?
Since I was a kid. since I was a kid. I grew up in a family that was probably, I mean, in the 70s, obviously. So we were very unconventional at that time. My family is a bunch of old hippies. You know, there's a reason I have 3 middle names. There's all this other stuff. And yeah, you know, my parents like planned to have me so that I was born in October. I was supposed to hang on until the end of the month, but unfortunately, I was born at the beginning, you know, that sort of stuff. They wanted a Libra baby. They planned for it that way, et cetera, et cetera. I used to spend hours as a child out in the back behind our family farm in the woods, you know, until literally the yard light came on, and I would pick wild plants and bring them home and show my dad and show my aunts. A good portion of my life, I was actually raised by my aunts and not my father because, divorce, remarriage, all that happy stuff that happens.
Yeah. Well, you know, it kind of gives you that mystic air. You know, I was raised by my aunts in the woods.
To an extent, yes. I mean, I remember going with a couple of my aunts to different, we went to the Wild Woman things with Susan Weed when she was still doing her thing, when she was still traveling the country. And at that time, I was either just barely 10 or still single digits.
Oh, wow.
When we went to that. Yeah, it was this big thing out in the woods.
That's pretty cool, though. Like,
yeah, 50 women trying to do a primal scream is kind of interesting. But yeah.
You know, that is the kind of stuff that does get the cops called.
I think where I grew up in Wisconsin was a lot more liberal when I was that age than it is now. I think they've actually swung more conservative, even though they're still considered a liberal state. I think they were more liberal when I was younger, because now I think you would have a hard time doing that.
That's sad.
Mm-hmm. But so we've got all sorts of really cool astrological things going on right now too.
You know, I hate to say this. This is one of those things I'm bad at. Like, I know I should put on my Google Calendar when all the astrological things are going on, but I never do. So tell me, how screwed am I?
Okay, so at least this Mercury retrograde officially starts on the 27th of September. So we have a couple more days before we hit the official date for the Mercury retrograde. Now, that being said,
which means it started last week, and that explains
roughly 2 weeks before, right? This one's a little different. This one's going to be a lot more like the one we had in January, end of January and into February. Remember when we were in retrograde and it didn't really affect you unless your relationship was already on rocky territory? This one is another relationship one. It's also going to, because it's under Libra, it's going to deal with a lot of legalities, you know, finding that balance. As a Libra, yes, that's what I do. This is my whole life, you know, up, down, up, down. So we're finding the balance. We're trying to make sure that we have everything's fair, everything's equitable. You know, it's no surprise that the first case is going to be heard on the Texas abortion ban in the next 2 weeks during this Libra Mercury retrograde. So it's not that surprising. We just had full moon, and that was a Pisces full moon. Of course, yesterday was Mibon, so the beginning of fall, and the second unofficial. How many unofficial starts are there to spooky season?
I don't know. I never stopped spooky season around here.
Well, you know, I mean, I started like thinking about pumpkins and all that stuff in August when we had Friday the 13th.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, that's close enough.
I just wait for the spooky stuff to start getting sold at Walmart. Like, okay, spooky season has come. Just gonna get like,
it seems like that exactly. But it gets earlier and earlier, and now I'm gonna say I hate the fact that they already are putting up Christmas decorations, and it's not even the 1st of October yet, and
Right. Yeah, let us have our creep session first. Let us get all the
Please let me
creepiness
have
out.
some skeletons and dead bodies before you start putting out fat men.
Right?
Just
Oh, got a couple comments. I didn't even see that.
okay.
Wicked Pixie, hello, and I can't believe I butcher your name every single time. I'm so sorry. Shannon, hello. I don't. I'm bad with names. There's a reason I have all my guests introduce themselves, and I'm always pointing this
That's
way.
an interesting blockage to talk about, though. So why are we bad with names? Oh, I'm not going to. You don't need me to analyze you. We'll do that
Go for it.
privately later.
If that's what you do, yes, show me your wares.
Okay, so if we're bad with names, then that means that we ourselves have issues with our own identity.
Cricket, cricket, cricket.
The silence is very telling.
It is very poignant silence.
Okay,
look at me. Look at me. Look, I am a walking identity crisis. Like, perpetually.
I love that.
Thank you. I made it myself.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. I made the shirt, and I tell you what, the skirt is actually, constructionally, it's not that impressive to make because it's like 3 straps and a whole bunch of folds. But the shirt is impressive because this is like the first time I've done buttonholes.
Oh, you've never done buttonholes. That's awesome, though. I love people that create, as we were talking about with the knitting. I love people that create things. I'm always awed by other artists. So I think that you are actually wearing it, that you're proud enough to wear an outfit that you created without having to sit around here like, oh, I'm so embarrassed.
I have reached a point in my life that I realized shame does me no good. Hiding who I am is creepier than just being.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to be a little creepy and weird, so let it all hang out, Nobody's normal.
I can be creepy and fun, or I can be
boring and depressed.
Right. Actually, I can't anymore. Like, there's no hiding all this. Like, this is who I am. Very Pisces.
I've often wondered if the whole witchcraft is as an aesthetic thing where our goths end up leaning more towards that direction, if which one makes which.
Right? It's hard to tell. There is a whole lot of overlap there.
There's a ton of overlap as far as the aesthetic and then becoming more curious about everything. I see so much power and strength in the younger generations, and I do mean, as a parent, obviously, I mean the ones I've made. and everybody else. I mean, let's see, my oldest is 31. He's 31. He's 30. No. Oh, sugars. No, he's 32. Oh gosh, I am. That's my oldest is 32, and then they go down to 12, and next year, oh gosh, yeah, next year they'll be 13, and those are my youngest. But so anyway, I see a really interesting shift in this because what started back in the 90s with a lot of the authors and the explosion, like over at Llewellyn Publishing and all everywhere else, that's all coming to fruition now. And
right.
Continuing on.
Like, the pressure's totally different. Like, you either have like no pressure or like it's scary out there. Like, there was a whole lot of looking down at people when I was a kid. Like, you didn't get like violent responses, but you got that
the silent condemnation.
Yes. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, we have to make his presence known. You want to come? You want to say hello?
Oh, just need to say hi. Hi, baby dog. Hello, puppy.
Say hello, Luther.
Good boy. Okay, now you've been loved. Is that enough?
Probably not. Probably
No,
not.
he wants to go outside.
Yes, that's exactly it. Like, it's,
But he wants to go outside and bark. He doesn't have to pee.
yeah,
He
he knows. We let him out at night to run
Mm-hmm.
because he's got to get some exercise and all that. But we don't do it during the day because, you know, people are out, people are walking, and he's a big scary dog. He's not like, he's friendly, but he's just he barks a lot, he runs up on people. He's never attacked anybody, but he scares people.
He's not a very big dog. You have to remember, I have Pyrenees.
Right.
So he's small.
Well, for your dogs, he's small, but he's at 80 pounds.
Exactly.
He says, Mom, are you calling me fat again? I'm not calling you fat. I'm just saying you're a big dog.
So
okay, so
no,
read me.
Okay. I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
I actually do not read for friends. I mean, I'll give you life advice, but I will not read for friends because once I get to know people, then my own impressions of you kind of mess with my ability to do an accurate reading for you.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the ones that I really do thrive on anonymous readings. Yep.
Yeah. You see, I guess maybe I do my readings a little differently because I can totally read for friends because a lot of what I do is more. So I use the tarot cards and things like, yeah, I want to lay out your life really quickly and get you to open up so that we can actually get to the problem. Like, that's what I work on. Like, I got to think, Joe, I don't know what he put in my bio on Keen, but I keep getting these people who have like narcissistic family members, and apparently I am perfect for them. Like, because I will just sit there and I'll basically just let them, like, you're paying me by the minute. You can talk as long as you please about these crazy bitches. You just go right ahead and you tell Mama all about it.
It's always interesting, the people that we meet when we're reading professionally for them, and it doesn't matter. I mean, and what's really funny is when you've been reading for a long time now, like for me, okay, do you remember the Miss Cleo advertisements?
Call me now for your free reading.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes. Okay, that was the very first line that I ever read on professionally.
Really? You read on that hotline?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on there. And then when that one folded, I went on to Warwick's website, the one that she used to do all the promo for. And so, yeah, I've been reading for a hot minute.
You know, it's funny. Like, I've been reading since I was a teenager. Since I was a young teenager. What's that?
Page of
Pretty.
Cups.
To a cup.
This is one of my favorite decks. This is the Wizard's Tarot.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And the artwork inside is just amazing. But that was what our reading came out for tonight for our show. And then we also have 10 of Cups. So lots of emotions getting opened up. No, hang on. Shoot. There we go. Lots of emotions getting opened up. They stick with the basic symbology of the Rider-Waite, and then just a few moderned up, cleaned up changes.
Which one's that? Is that the 3 of Cups or is that the?
That's 4.
4.
Where he's sitting in his study, thinking about what he wants to do. With all this ideas, look at all the lights behind him with the ideas that he's got going on with his cups. Exactly. All the thoughts and ideas that come to our head that we just have to act on.
We got two more viewers. Hello.
Hello, viewers.
What do you think those cards mean? Like,
in this case, since that's for our reading for the show tonight, it looks like we're going to have the opportunity to read and talk to a couple of people. Hopefully they'll come in on chat and want to get a reading.
Yeah, so if you're out there and you'd like a reading,
yeah,
let us know.
I'll do a couple readings for you if you're real quick with it. All I need is first name and date of birth. But yeah, so I think that as people grow and we're going through, you know, the hippies started talking about it in the 60s, and which I don't know about you, but that's my parents. Um, and they talked about the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And as we get closer and closer and closer to Aquarius coming into more power, we see a lot of things changing, especially with society as a whole and how people think about all of this. You know, did you know they're selling more tarot cards now than have ever been sold before? And there's more decks out. I mean, literally, there are publishing houses that do nothing but publish decks.
I believe it.
Oh,
Gwendolyn
yeah.
asked for a reading.
Huh?
Another one of our West Virginia psychics is in the chat, and she asked for a reading. Gwendolyn.
Okay. I know Gwen's birthday, so she doesn't even have to say it. Oh, ha, ha. All right.
By the way, happy birthday. I know it was like last week, but
It was last week. She got to have a very happy Virgo birthday. All right. So first thing we're looking at for you, darling, is 3 of Wands. We got a lot of work going. Poop. Sorry. I forget which end the thing is going on. See, we're sitting here at the desk. We got a lot of work ahead of us. And
that looks like my desk.
Huh?
Painful. That looks like my desk. Like I'm glad the camera's pointed this way and not in any other direction.
There's a reason we don't show her desks, because we don't want everybody to see the mess. And there, look again. Here we go. Page of Cups again. So we're looking at that emotions. We're looking at moving forward. We're looking at growth. We're looking at moving into new ventures, new sources of the ability to tap into what we really need. And then my favorite, Ace of Pentacles, which means we got some money coming our way. Things are looking up. Things are changing. Yay, money. Right. Maybe you were the one that bought the $400 million lotto ticket, right? Never know. It could happen.
If you do, share, bitch.
I'm sure she'd give us all 50 cents.
I'll take it in advertising.
Last question. Last card for the reading. Here we go. 4 of Wands. We've got a lot of big goals and dreams, and they look like they're out of reach, but we can handle it. We can handle it. There you go.
She just got accepted to Keen. For those of you who don't know, I'm on Keen, and now Lady Gwendolyn is on Keen. It's a psychic hotline where you can go, and anytime that we're logged on, you can just go and click on and call us.
Yep, I'm on Keen as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got quite a few of us over here now.
It's a good site. It's a really good site. It's
a fabulous site, and it's a lot of fun to be on. And I love the variety of people that I get to talk to every day. I get a chance to touch and the blessing of being able to help people and read into their lives and give them guidance. It's a very emotionally rewarding position. I love it much better than the line that I used to be on.
I get it. I really do. Because there are definitely some lines where you have almost no control.
Very little control. And Keen allows us to do that. And like I said, I'm happy to be part of that family.
So we've also got another request for a reading.
Okay.
Let's see if I can. There we go. Can you read it?
All right. I don't know what's going on with my life. I feel lost in the spirit world. I don't know what my talent is. I miss my friend from primary school. I haven't seen her for 8 years. Okay. And your date of birth is 2002, 12/03. So I'm guessing, since we're from South Africa, that will be March 12th, which would put you in the Pisces. Correct?
Yay, Pisces! Yep, that puts her in Pisces. I know she is because I'm a Pisces.
Yep, so that's fabulous. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we got going on. First of all, I'm going to talk to you again. If you caught the beginning part of the show, we had talked about Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is every time it happens, and it happens roughly 3 times every year. So it's nothing unusual. It's nothing that we can't predict. But when Mercury retrograde happens, that's one of those things that we're looking at so that we know that these things from the past are going to all get stirred up, because that's what happens when we're looking at that Mercury retrograde. So if the thoughts of your friend from primary school have been happening a lot more in the past couple of weeks, that's probably because we've been in that shade phase or pre-shadow phase of Mercury retrograde. Okay.
She
So the
says, no,
first,
it's December 3rd.
oh, it's December 3rd. Okay, good. That
Sorry.
changed. That's fine. I just never know, because I know other countries have it done differently. So December 3rd, which puts you, instead of being a Pisces, that puts you into, yeah, okay, we got you. All right, so first things first, as far as the card layout goes, first one that came up is Strength. So this is time for, and this is major arcana card, so we know we've got life challenges coming your way. Second card that came up in this situation is the Devil card, which is following your base instincts. So the whole thought then is, if you're wanting to connect with this person, what's the reason? I would say that this probably looks like some root chakra energy going on here. And then the last that comes up here is Three of Cups. And if we're looking at Three of Cups in this, then that means there's outside influences that are kind of directing what we've got going on with this relationship. And as far as your growth with spirit, reach out to other people. You're aware of the people that are in your area that you want to reach out for. Quit fearing it, and please make that action happen.
That's pretty deep.
Doesn't take much. I mean, the cards are just there to remind you what things are about.
That's true. You know, that's funny, because I know we talked about you not being willing, or, well, not wanting to read for somebody, you know, because it skews your reading. Mm-hmm. It's funny because sometimes I'll read and I'll be like, yes, I already knew this, but it does sort of validation and seeing your life laid out in the cards. Like, okay, this is the situation. I'm like, do you think it? Yeah, I already knew that, but you did. You wouldn't need somebody to read for you.
Well, and that's the thing. Sometimes there's a lot of people that read that don't read for themselves either, because they say that they overinterpret and overanalyze the results that they get.
Oh, I will. I'll shuffle my cards and I do the thing that you're never ever supposed to do, and I'll keep turning cards and keep turning cards. I'm like, and I'll shuffle them all again and keep turning cards. I'm like, I'm going to do a whole video on why, you know, why they say that you shouldn't read for yourself, because I believe it's not a bad thing, but you allow yourself to get twisted up in it.
I think ego gets in the way of our interpretations, and that's why we're not supposed to read for ourselves.
I think so too. And I know that's a big part of what happens with me. Yvette, 90592.
90592. Okay.
I'm sorry if I butchered your name, dear.
No, it's Yvette.
Yvette.
You're good. All right, Yvette. Let's see what we got here. All right, I got your cards. Ooh, you have got something coming your way. Big changes, big messages coming from spirit into your life. What are you trying to manifest, dear? Because here comes your second card, and it's another page. This one's the Page of Pentacles. So what's going on here? We have the Knight. We have the Knight. Knight of Wands. Page of Pentacles. And then the last one that comes out is Ace of Wands. So whatever you've been afraid of doing, whatever you've been afraid of taking charge of in your life, now is the time to seize the day.
Woot.
Just see the day, seize it. Grab it by the short hairs. And
sometimes you just want to grab it by the lips and yank.
Well, exactly. Grab it by the short hairs and make it do what you want. If you want to take the control back of your life that you've given away to other people, you need to go ahead and do the thing that you're afraid of, which means you either call the person, talk to the person, or get over there and face-to-face confrontation. Confrontation doesn't have to be violent. Confrontation doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to be aggressive or angry. Confrontation is simply telling somebody what you want out of that time that you're with them. Setting those expectations. You know,
I know that's a big thing in relationships is a lot of people, you get all doe-eyed and you forget to communicate with your partner.
Well, here's the thing. All right.
Or friends.
Well, I am the world's worst. Luther, really?
You hear him singing back here?
Please let me out.
Okay, you know what? Luther interlude. Go ahead and talk.
I'll go ahead and talk. You go let him out.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the things I'm talking about here is when we see things in our life that we want, we get into this stagnation pattern of wanting things and not necessarily wanting to make the effort to make them happen. It's like, oh yes, I really, really, really want XYZ. Okay, great. Thank you for calling me. I'm glad we've had this chance to talk. So here's how you're going to get XYZ. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And I, as a reader, can tell you that as a client. But if I tell you that as a client, you need to follow up. You need to make that effort to make things happen. I'm basically like a road sign. I can point you in the direction. I can tell you how to get there, but I'm not the one driving the car.
Oh my God. How many times have you heard this one? Like, you'll tell a client that this is what you need to do, and they'll get mad. They'll get mad and be like, I already knew that. I'm like, well, if you already knew that.
If I got paid an extra $1 every time I said, please trust your own intuition in regards to relationships, I would probably be richer than Jeff Bezos.
Right. It's gotten to the point where I try to just make sure I fully tap in before I respond. But my knee-jerk reaction when somebody asks me, is my relationship gonna last? No.
You know, okay, so we were talking before. Today is the 19th anniversary of my husband and mine meet date. So this day, 19 years ago, was when we first met. Now, what's my body count before him? Dozens.
How do we want to count that body? Like,
dozens. Okay. I don't consider myself all that unusual in that. I know my number's a little higher than other people because I very heavily invested into my slut phase when I was in it. But here's the thing.
You know what, though? There ain't no shame in that game. If you can get it.
No. But here's the thing. Okay, so knowing that my body count is in the dozens and this is my current partner. Now, also remember, I've been married 3 times. This is my 3rd marriage. My first marriage lasted 5 years. The second one was 3 years. And then this one for 19 years. So these aren't like all short-term relationships either. They're mixed up in there. So, but what are the odds then, if you think of that, what are the odds that the relationship you get into at any given time is going to be the one? It's really, even on an individual basis, kind of a low number.
Right. Yeah, I say that, but there have been a lot of times where somebody will ask me that and be like, okay, I think we need to work on your communication, but this is a viable relationship. Mm-hmm. And it really does come down to, it comes down to a certain level of compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
And once you reach a point where you're like, okay, I know what I don't want.
And that's why I tell people to journal. Why do you think I tell everybody to journal? Because it's like, here's the thing. If you don't somehow analyze all your failures and successes in life and in what you're doing, somehow, that's either talking to a therapist, having some really great friends that you can sit and talk to that you've known since you were a child, whatever. A journal is a great way to do that because it takes all of these emotions, all this tangled up heart space, and it puts it up into this third eye state and into your crown chakra, where you can look at things and analyze them, and it's not as emotionally overwhelming. So you can really see, all right, is this okay? Yes, this is good. Is this okay? Oh, no, that's not. And where are you going to fall in that pattern?
Journaling. That's one of those things that I heavily promote, but I have trouble keeping up with.
Join the crowd.
I don't know what it is with my journals. There's a thing about my journals though. Like the first one, I don't know why, but I threw it away. The second one got stolen by an ex's ex-girlfriend. Stole it.
Okay.
My dog ate one of them.
Okay.
I'm like, I can't. Like, once that chapter of my life is closed, that journal, something happens to it. It's like one day, like one of them literally disappeared.
Okay, I have no journals from previous years, none. As I fast approach 50, I probably am going to start saving them now.
Mm-hmm.
But I have no journals from when I was younger, and I've been a journal writer since I was single digits. My parents have like some of my childhood art journals and doodle journals, because that's how I'd write stuff and I'd doodle and then I'd draw some more stuff, and yeah. That was my
I've got a lot of my
journaling.
old art. I've got a lot of my art, but like if it's my emotional toilet, so to speak, which I did a video on, it's one of my first real videos on this channel, and it's still one of my favorite, even though it is like technically bad. Like it's just like I don't want to redo it because it was so glorious, but damn the audio. But like those journals,
Why don't you revisit it and remake it? Don't change the original, just redo it.
not a bad idea. I've thought about, because I had like a whole list of journal ideas, like journal exercises I was going to do. I actually had an idea of how I was going to pattern them, because I was going to do like neutral, feel good, dealing with harder emotions kind of setup where I go like through them all, because I think I actually got out 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But in doing the exercises on you can find my journal entries every Wednesday on Facebook, Patreon, if you want to get it a week early, and my website.
Yeah, my clients on my private clients and my Keen clients also get a series of journaling prompts. I wrote an article this year for the West Virginia Pagan Pride Day in regards, it was in the booklet in regards to journaling, and I think I wrote 50 or 60 journaling prompts. That was the second article that I put in there. I try to give out at least 10 to 12 every month, and figure out, you guys can probably figure out the rest of them. But there's a couple things I do to make sure that I'm doing my journaling. One is I use my cellular device to set up an alarm. I need to do that for my medication. Otherwise, I forget to take my heart medicine, and that's always bad. So I do that. And then the other thing too is I see a lot of people that get caught in this thought process that when I'm journaling, I need to spend an hour pouring out my emotions to this journal. And I'm like, no, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. If you can get yourself into the habit of 5 minutes every day writing it out. And I like to have 2 sets of journals, one for the deep emotional, deep dive down into the trauma and tragedies of things that you've done. And the other one is a more aspirational journal and a more introspective journal in regards to what you want to do. So one's working through the old trash, and the other one is working through the new treasures.
I usually do what I do. My standard format is first of all, I dump because like
Mhm. Info dump.
it is. And it feels very much in a way like a bowel movement. Like there's a relief of pressure.
Well, yeah, it's a cathartic process.
Yeah. So I get that out, and then after that, I try to think of something positive that happened that day, something that I did actually accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, a little gratitude exercise. I like to write down 5 things I'm grateful for.
Absolutely.
And that's usually when I'm doing it, because I get out of the practice. It's just like I used to exercise every other day. I did that for a long time.
Okay. So here's my thing on journaling is this, and I'm going to tell you the other thing that I really strongly believe and hold as one of my own personal core values. Please don't feel guilty. Guilt is an absolutely useless emotion. Do you know why I feel this way? And I'm sure there'll be people that'll correct me in past reviews of this or when it goes out on the web, but here's my thought. Guilt is a useless emotion. Because what it is you are beating yourself up over something you failed to do or failed to do how you felt was adequate.
Right.
So you're not journaling every day. Okay, fine. Whatever.
Pick it up tomorrow or
You'll pick
tonight.
it up tomorrow or you'll pick it up tonight because we're talking about it. And now that we've had a conversation about it, you're going to remember to journal for a while.
Right. I have been trying to pick up like
But
one
don't feel
small
guilty
activity.
about it if you don't.
I probably will not. I try not to feel guilty. It's something I work against. It's something that
Guilt.
it's a very heavy stone to carry, and I've got too much shit to do. I got too much to do to worry about it. So I'm like, okay, if it's not serving me, then I set it down.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that with my physical objects. Like most of everything, just about everything I own is in one place and organized, because if I see it, then it still exists. If I don't see it, if it goes into storage, then it's like building a cesspool for yourself that you have to go through, that you have to clean out. And I'm like, I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah, I've never understood people that have like storage units of stuff. I annually end up going through what my kids lovingly call the purge.
Yeah, there's been a few
And
times I call it the Great Purge. I've actually got a bunch of stuff in the living room that's supposed to go away. I just have not accomplished that yet. And then I've
mhm.
got friends who've got like multiple storage units. I'm like, how much money are you sinking in holding on to stuff that you literally have not seen in years?
I read an organizing article ages ago. I couldn't even begin to tell you how long ago this was. And what they said is that if you're a cluttery kind of person, that what you need to do is clean up some of it, put it in a box, tape the box up and date it. And if in a year and a half, if you haven't opened up that box or got in there for anything, without even opening it, throw it away.
Right. I can see that. Actually, there's a box in the garage may end up having to, because like, what are you gonna do with it?
Mm-hmm.
I have one drawer that is an exception, and that is stuff that's just, it's too emotional to have out,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also still attached to the objects inside. Like, nobody's perfect. I am definitely not Jesus. Please don't set me on fire. Um, but there's that one drawer of just emotional baggage,
Yeah.
but I don't let it exceed that space. It's like, this is the space I have for this purpose.
So you've delineated a space for it so it doesn't become so overwhelming.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It works.
Michelle. Michael. Michael would like reading. What's your birth date, dear? Ah, there we go. May 1st, 88.
May 1st, 88. Beltane, huh? Interesting.
This is birthday.
Yeah, I always like holiday birthdays.
St. Patty's Day.
Really? The 17th?
Yep.
Oh, that's so cute. Cody, who is my teenager, their birthday is on Lammas.
Ah.
Yeah, and of course they can bake amazing bread. Oh, all right, here we go. Michael, for our Beltane birthday. All right, here we go. Look at that. What is that? Without even knowing the card, and I'll show you the card here. I don't know if you can read it through the screen. It is the Seven of Swords. How does that make you feel? Who's keeping secrets? Who's hiding things away? Is it you? Is it whoever is in your life? Is it your person of interest, the Empress? So this makes me think that you're asking for a love reading in regards to a relationship problem, or else something that you're not willing to accept within yourself. King of Wands. So somebody was a very overbearing in this relationship with this other person and drove them away. So my suggestion to you would be, if you're still thinking about them, and we do know it is Mercury retrograde, reach out. This is a great time to reach out. Doesn't mean anything's going to happen, but if you're thinking of somebody, I always think that if you're thinking of someone, you should always reach out, unless they have you blocked and have a restraining order on you.
Yeah, unless they told you not to. If they told you not to, don't do it.
If there's a restraining order, we probably should not. But otherwise, reach out. Whoever you're thinking of, or whatever things you're thinking of, I'm telling you, your future's looking different than that. I'm going to pull one card, Michael, for you for a resolution card for this situation. And there we go. That is our Knight of Pentacles. See him on his horse. He's also telling us we've got the clocks behind him, telling us this is going to take time, but it's going to come through and everything will work out the way it's supposed to. Spirit's got your back.
So that's good news.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he doesn't understand what if they're negative but you love them.
Oh boy.
Hey,
Okay,
you're
so
the one doing I'm glad you're the one doing this reading.
all right, so if the other person is the negative energy but you love them anyhow, you need to really sit down and analyze, is it that you love them, or is it that you love what you want them to be?
You can appreciate the good things in a person without...
You can appreciate the good things in the person. A lot of times when we fall in love, or when we fall in lust with someone who we find out very quickly is a toxic type person, or a negative type person, or an energy sucking, soul stealing vampire type personality, it's because we see something in them that reminds us of us. Now, it doesn't always mean that they're reminding you of stuff from this lifetime, though. See, that's where it gets really complicated, because this could be something that this is a spiritual lesson that's been karmically following you through previous incarnations. And I would be happy to, if you'd like to go onto my website, which is themelissaalfred.com, you can book with me and we can set up a reading for you. Otherwise, if you want to catch me when I'm on Keen, you can catch me on keen.com. That's Melissa Alfred. If you want to go to my Etsy store, you can book appointments with me directly through my Etsy store. Again, that's the Melissa Alfred. And you can find me on Facebook, again, under my name. I'm all over by my name. It's super easy to find me.
You can Google Dottie the Psychic and I show up.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just show up on Local Psychics.
The Melissa Alfred shows up. Melissa Alfred, there's several of them. So
okay, so Beltane is a big pagan holiday. It's also called May Day. It's sort of the day that really flowers start coming back. You know, things are going from being planted to growing. It's also the day that the god and the goddess are said to be married, to sort of start that cycle again, you know.
Yep. Fertility, growth,
Fertility. It's a big
birth.
fertility holiday.
Yep.
Lots of fun.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm gonna put my 2 cents in here on the negative person. One thing you
Okay.
have to understand is, yes, there's something that is attracting to that person, because nobody is totally terrible, and you may very well be attracted to the broken part of them. The trick is not to sacrifice your own well-being for the sake of somebody else, because when you end up in that position, you cannot be a savior if you are a victim, which is what you become when you feed somebody who is not feeding you back. That's my soapbox.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Every relationship at some point, obviously I'm thinking long-term relationships because it is my anniversary today. Every relationship at any given time, and I really wish people would understand that no relationship is 50-50. Never.
It's
Relationships are
100%, 100%.
exactly 100%, 100%. And if you really want to think, if you really insist on thinking of the 50-50, you need to understand that at any given point in a normal healthy relationship, one person is giving 60%, the other one's giving 40. It goes back and forth as far as where that energy lies. The problem comes in a lot of relationships when we end up with these 80-20 relationships, and they just kind of sit here because you got someone who's a taker.
Yeah, and somebody who's
And
a
that's
giver.
all they want to do. And the other one just wants to give, because their love languages don't match up. And that's a problem.
There's a certain level. Two good people may not work out together because they're simply not compatible in some manner.
Mm-hmm.
Theologically,
there's so many different things
personality type. Yeah.
Personality preference. I mean, even for me, obviously, politics, ethics, morals, personal values. If you're with someone and you don't want to have children anymore, you're done with that. You're like, nope, not having no kids. Factories open for play, not for work. And the other person wants children. That would be a fundamental incompatibility as far as the relationship goes, and that would be something that you guys would probably end up breaking up over, because generally speaking, the one that wants children is not going to change their mind, and the one that says the factory is for play and not for work, they're generally not going to change their mind either.
Right. That's true. So he said, you guys just came through my screen and slapped me silly and took the taste out of my mouth. I'm like, I have that effect on people.
I hope it's in a good thing. Please understand that whenever you're having doubts in regards to a relationship, this is one of those times where that journaling is really going to help you. You sit down and you write down 10 qualities of my ideal partner and 10 qualities of the partner I have now.
Honestly, there's a good old-fashioned, and this is for a lot of big decisions. This is not a bad journaling exercise. To go ahead and do you a good old-fashioned pros and cons list and really take a look at what staying with them costs you, what it gives you, what leaving would cost you, and what it gives you. Because it's a huge life decision. And leaving is going to create its own issues. But number one, if it's reached the point where you cannot be with this person, if they're costing you too much, like if they drive a wedge between you and the people that love you, that is huge.
Gigantic red flag. I mean, like red flag, gigantic.
It's like beginning hitting the face with a can of spray paint. Red flag.
Mm-hmm.
That is an abuse technique.
Yep.
It is not something that people do necessarily consciously.
And it's a danger sign of a lot of different negative personality types.
When they start to isolate you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that happens a lot. So many baby steps lead to really tragic endings with those kinds of relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not all ones. And you know, when it comes to, you mentioned it, the Michael mentioned addiction.
Oof. Yeah.
It's not your job to fix another human being.
Yep. And if the person is an addict and they're telling you that they need your help, that's great. Help and love and support them. But you need to figure out where you need to draw the line, because you can't sacrifice yourself for them.
Yeah.
Because they're an addictive personality, or they're
And you
suffering through addiction or recovering from addiction. Anybody who's going through addiction is a very self-centered person, and they don't have a lot to give, because that addiction is taking everything and sucking it in like a black hole.
it is bizarrely akin to a possession.
It is. It also fits. I mean, the addictive personality. Okay, since we're not on Keen right now, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little psychology here. The addictive personality type also tends to follow the same as the narcissistic personality type, the abusive dissociative type of personality. Every major medical diagnosis or psychological diagnosis that you could hit, that addictive person has a lot of those qualities. They just do. It's
You know,
part of that disease.
I know that there are some people who, there's a lot of reasons why people fall victim to an addiction. And there's a lot of high functioning people that are not inherently bad people.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm talking the addiction itself creates those types of behaviors in the person. It's not that they're bad people. It's that.
Right. The big question when you're trying to help somebody who has an addiction is, what are they doing for themselves? Because that is not something you can ever do. That is not something you can do for somebody else.
Nope,
That
you
is
can't fix an addiction.
Yeah.
You can love them where they are, but you can't fix that.
Right. And that is, unfortunately, it's a one-person journey.
Yep.
You can get help along the way. There's plenty of people out there. There's support. There's everything else. But that is something that they have to inherently work against.
Exactly. You got it.
You can, I mean, and sometimes they have to hit rock bottom to understand what they're doing is destructive.
Yeah, and sometimes when you think they've hit rock bottom, they go lower.
Yeah, sometimes.
You know,
sometimes there are some people that never really hit rock bottom, or they just don't see their way back up. And all you can do is offer them a hand up, but you have to take care of yourself in those situations.
You have to put yourself as a priority and
all the resources.
And understand that as much as you may care for the person who has an addiction, there's not necessarily space in their heart for you to care for you the same way that you're caring for them.
Right. So let's talk more about, let's see, we talked about your herbal shop. You got the website up and running.
Yep. Everything's up and running. We're hitting on all 19 cylinders.
Yay. God, I'm just getting back into the flow. I took a big hit over the summer. Like, not just one, but like three major hits. Huh?
You had a lot of stuff going on.
I did. So, like, I am just now, like, crawling out of the bunker to try and pull my shit together. Like, but I'm getting I have been doing Keen, and I have been getting I missed last week on my journal, but I have been getting my journals going.
Yay. Baby steps, baby steps.
Right. I need to get at least a solid, someday in the vague and distant future, I will actually get like a head. This is the vague and distant future. It may never actually happen, but a girl can dream. A girl can dream.
You know what? As long as you got goals, you can achieve them.
Right. So, I must take a time on my own show to try and advertise some of the things I'm doing. And then I want to,
absolutely.
Right now, I am working on my last death video, like working on the script. Have you seen those?
Yes, I have.
They're pretty intense.
let's just say it's not something I could do, but
Yeah,
I am not you, and that's okay.
it's been rough. Like, I mean, like, I'm digging, like, that's one thing, like, I always, like, that's the gap I'm trying to fill right there, is
Mhm,
being mental health positive with magic, you know, because so many
mhm,
times you run into this dichotomy. So many people in the spiritual world will actively deny, like, healthcare. You know,
mhm.
they'll rely on, and I know herbology can be medicine, but you got to treat it like medicine. But so many people will not talk to their doctor, not get therapy because they're trying to do it this way, and I think it can be dangerous. It can be a little dangerous.
I am 100% in support of therapy, and I'm also 100. I'm in support of Western medicine, and I'm in support of Western traditional herbalists. And I don't think that they're exclusive. I think that, like a Venn diagram, they end up looking like a stack of pancakes.
Right. Like
They all overlap. So,
yeah, you will never hear me give you advice against seeking help.
nope,
But that's
absolutely.
kind of like, that right there is my, like, niche, because
It
I'm
is,
crazy and I love magic, so that's where I live.
but that's who you are, and that's okay. I mean, I'm not that person. We're very different in our approaches to things. I am very much as I get older and TikTok becomes more popular, I realize how stereotypical Gen X I am.
I am apparently right there. I'm a zennial, like, that's
Oh,
the in between generation.
okay. You don't even have enough of a title for anybody to make fun of you.
I know, like, I'm not really a millennial because I know what a house phone was, but I'm also
Mhm.
not a Gen Xer because I was a baby when the 90s happened.
Right. This poor little toddler sitting here in front of the Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell, man. That, oh, dang, that they did not age well. A whole bunch of them went down. Like, they did not do adulting well.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah,
But no, I mean, I think every person has the power within themselves to help themselves heal, but that doesn't mean that that's the only way they're going to heal.
right. I mean, I believe in energy work. I've seen it work. I
Uh,
believe because I've seen.
exactly. And I've experienced amazing things. And same with, more magical stuff. I've seen amazing things happen with candle spells. I've seen amazing things happen with prosperity spells. I've seen amazing things happen with fertility spells. But I also believe that we do the work, we do the ritual, and we do the work at the same time. You know, I wouldn't dream of doing a fertility spell with somebody who is having problems trying to conceive if they hadn't already talked to their doctor and said, are my cycles normal? What's the sperm motility? All this other stuff. It all works together, and that's where we have to come from.
I do believe that, a lot of times, because I do them in tangent. You know,
Hmm.
it's like if you're having a fertility problem and you do the fertility spell, and then the next time you go into the doctor, he finds a quick fix, and suddenly magically it's taken care of. Who's to say that that magic didn't cause that?
Hmm. Well, it comes back to that Jungian archetype where we're all connected. You know, the world's biggest mushroom is over in Colorado, and it takes up that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles of mycelium that are all biologically identical. So they're the same plant essentially.
Yep, the oldest and largest living life form.
Yeah, and it's a honey mushroom, of course, because those are really good and delicious. But so think about that. If we just discovered that now, who's to say that you and I aren't connected on a cellular level that's more than what we can even imagine?
Right.
There's a reason why almost every culture has the same stories. The savior, the sun god, the moon mother, or sun mother and moon father, and all of these have these same archetypes. Do you know how many different religious traditions have the story of the golden apple or the golden fruit?
I'm actually not surprised. It makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Because
okay, we're up over an hour now.
Then we probably ought to cut it, because that's kind of about the length, right?
Also, yeah, and my dogs are wanting to get back in.
Oh well.
You know how they go. They're like small children.
4 of them, of course I know. And my
Love
smallest
dogs.
one is a puppy who was born last year. So
Aww.
yeah.
I am a crazy dog woman. I do not like cats as much as I like dogs.
No, my husband is the cat person, and we have somehow acquired over time now 6 cats. We have 4 dogs, 6 cats, 8
That's
goats,
how it happens. You just start taking them in and you get
3
stuck.
rabbits. Yeah, we have yeah.
Okay, go ahead and remind me one more time what you're available on. Keen. What's
I'm
the name of your
available on
website?
themelissaalfred.com.
themelissaalfred.com.
Yep. Etsy store is by the same name. Facebook is by the same name. You can find me everywhere by Melissa Alfred. Just look up Melissa Alfred Psychic or Melissa Alfred Tarot. You will find me everywhere. I'm universal.
Let's see. We're both on West Virginia Psychic.
West Virginia
so you can find. Yes.
Yeah, and the voting for the annual awards on West Virginia Psychics opens up here next week.
So vote for yours truly.
Vote for, and with West Virginia, we have 55 counties, so there are 55 potential winners across the state for best male, best female, tarot reader, astrologer. I believe it's tarot reader, astrologer, and medium are the 3 categories. Yep. So get on there, and that Google document will be opening up here on October 1st. And then we will have an award ceremony, which will probably end up being here on StreamYard or Zoom or something like that, because COVID.
Very cool. Like, you know what? I've got to get back. That's one of the things I got to get back into is participating with West Virginia Psychics. Like, I know that I plug them every time I come on. Every time I do something, I try to plug them in my stuff. But like, I think my journal exercises have been going over there. I haven't looked.
I know I just had another article that went up, or should have went up, that I wrote in regards to there's a couple articles over there I've written on relationships and why somebody ghosts you. Yeah. And then there was another article in regards to the pre-shadow Mercury retrograde. That one just went up. I know my journaling articles are over there. And again, like I said, there is a mail list for the journaling articles. All you have to do is be a client, and you can get into that for free. So.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I think, and then of course you can find me everywhere Dottie the Psychic is sold.
There we go.
All right, y'all. Have a good night. Safe travel and much profit to you.